Welcome to the 60 Plus Podcast.
I'm Janet.
I'm Joe. How are you, Janet? Jeez.
I'm
See, people that haven't.
very well.
Excellent. People that haven't listened to previous episodes won't understand why
Well,
we
that's
laugh.
okay. Then they'll have to go back and listen to the other
They will.
ones.
Just for
So
those
they
people.
know what the inside joke is.
The inside joke is
Not very funny,
I
but
try to get Janet to say I'm well instead of I'm good. And she's doing better.
it's only taken 61 episodes. So I don't know all the rules, I guess, Joe. That's my problem. And if I did know the rules, I'd break them anyway.
The grammar rules
Yeah.
that you learn
Break
in
'em.
second
I
grade.
like breaking rules.
You're a rule breaker.
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about today, Janet?
Well, it's a hot topic.
Hot topic.
Yes, not a hot pocket, a hot
Hot pockets.
It's about the changing role of the grandparent.
Ah,
Hmm.
I'm not a
So-
grandparent yet.
No, neither am I. But it's interesting.
You really want to be though, don't you?
I do. And it's just a matter of time. I just know. So I was reading this article
Your
and
daughter listens to this podcast,
yeah. So I was reading this article and we just
Shh.
hit a mile.
Like she won't hear me if you go shh.
Come on, let me get this sentence out before I forget.
Okay.
So we hit a milestone in American history. The first of the 76 million Americans born between the years 1946 and 64, the well-known baby boomer generation, reached the age of 55. So, of course, this will signal, some changes in the enterprise of grandparenting.
It's an enterprise.
It's an enterprise. It's a job.
It sounds like you're reading something.
I did just read that. Welcome to the Starship Enterprise.
I have no idea what that was about.
Wasn't that from? Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. So, first we'll see.
Well, first of all, I've
What?
asked you not to make me laugh because I did have a dental procedure this week and
Nobody cares.
And it hurts.
I know. Hey, are you feeling okay? How are you, Joe?
Just shut up.
Boy, grumpy much?
No, that wasn't sincere.
No, of course it wasn't. You would never talk to me that way and get away with it.
No, when you asked me how I was,
Oh.
that wasn't sincere. All right, so you talked about the changing role and the milestone. As of 2022, the average age of a grandparent in the United States was 68. 25 years ago, what do you think it was?
I'm going to guess it was 55.
Closer to the early 50s is what I'm getting from Bowling Green State University's study.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's
pretty significant.
and that's only a 25-year difference.
Yeah, that's significant. So here's the thing. It's like, yes, we are becoming grandparents later, but it hasn't affected how long we're grandparents. Do you know why?
Because we're awesome.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. We are. Well, yes, because we're living longer. We are healthier. That's the thing. That's why we're living longer. We're healthier. We're eating healthier. We're staying more active. And if you look at how that changes how we are with our grandchildren too, it's like completely different. I mean, this one article I was reading is talking about all of these extreme sports that grandparents want to do with their grandchildren.
Stamp collecting and...
No, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
Like rock climbing and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I plan on doing with my grandchildren.
Well, you don't have any grandchildren yet. When they're old enough to go rock climbing,
Yeah,
how old are you going to be?
I don't know.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Organizations are starting to cater this whole idea of how grandparents want to go with their grandchildren, do high octane activities like mountain biking, martial arts, things like that.
Stamp collecting.
Stop with the stamp collecting. Nobody's stamp collecting. Bird watching. So anyway, there's this organization called Elder Hostel, which actually is kind of interesting. It's been around for 25 years and it's designed to curate educational activities for 55 plus. And now they're planning trips for older adults who want to bring their grandchildren. So this is a whole new thing for them.
Okay.
So I think that, again, we've got a lot of grand travel, if you will, and that's going to include grandchildren. So that's one difference.
All right. I did come across something from your favorite research organization, the
You.
Pew Research Center. Not only are we living longer, so the amount of time hasn't changed that we're grandparents,
Mm,
younger people today are delaying having children.
right.
And that's why the age has gotten longer
Yes.
too.
Yeah. It was also interesting because I was reading like something like 76% of 30-year-olds will have at least still one living grandparent.
Oh,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's very different too.
Hmm.
Because that used to be much younger when you'd lose your grandparents.
So I came up with a bunch of differences between grandparents of today and grandparents of 25 years ago. You want to hear a couple?
I would love to.
That wasn't sincere either.
How can you tell how sincere I am? You're not inside my head.
Was it sincere?
Of course it was.
You don't have to be a detective to recognize sarcasm.
No, honestly, I'm very interested. Tell me.
Involvement in childcare. So
Yes,
today, grandparents are more likely to provide significant support for childcare.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
They were less integrated in a child's caregiving 25 years ago.
Right. Well, unless if you went back even further in time, though, it could be that the grandparent was actually living in the same household. So if you went back another generation,
According to, which one is this? According to the Pew Research Center, that's not true. More grandparents live with their grandchildren now than they did 25 years ago.
really?
Really?
What about 50 years ago,
I
though?
didn't do that. A larger number of grandparents live with their grandchildren, about 7 million grandparents in 2020, compared to 5.8 million in the year 2000.
Okay. Wait, we'd have to go back a little bit further to see if that kind of went up and then down again, you know.
You're always questioning the statistics I come
I'm
up with.
not. I'm just saying I would like to see the data further back to see how it compares to a generation before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable question.
Yeah.
And, maybe you should have done that research before we started recording.
Okay.
And that was
Are you
sincere.
trying to make me cry?
That was sincere. All right. So let's see. What else? What else?
Well,
have I
you
got?
know what? Let's talk a little bit more about that too, because it's like I always want to know what's the why behind that, right? Well, one thing could be that you have two working parents now more than we ever have, right?
That's true.
So
Childcare costs have increased.
daycare costs.
Housing costs have increased.
Daycare costs are
That's
crazy,
hmm
and you can't even find someplace. So,
Sometimes that's true. Yeah.
you're almost not, I don't want to use the word stuck because I think it's actually good for everybody if the grandparents more involved. But,
Of course you do.
of course, the grandparents should be
That's your
very
dream.
involved.
Your daughter listens to this podcast, right?
Listen, she's already given me my hours.
Oh, has she really? Okay.
She set the expectation.
All right. Here's another difference that's kind of goes back to an episode that we did about technology and how people our age are much more tech savvy now.
Yes.
And I know I have a very good friend who lives in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
His new granddaughter lives in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
They're always communicating via technology,
Like on Zoom,
FaceTime and
FaceTime, and
videos.
mm-hmm.
I have another good friend. She receives a number of videos of her grandchildren every day.
Yeah, and that's sweet.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandparents, when I was growing up, my grandparents lived no further than a 40-minute drive.
Me too. Both sets were.
But you only
close
ever saw
by.
them when you saw them.
Well, it was usually on the weekends. You'd like
hmm
go one and then the other, then one and the other.
hmm
Switch on and off. Yeah.
But now grandparents can see their grandchildren every day, and it doesn't matter where they live.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing.
It is. It
It
is.
really is.
hmm What have you got?
What do you mean? I already gave you everything I had.
Wow.
I don't like to, leave everything just hanging, I mean, I like to just kind of put it all out there. Oh, my one article that I researched.
Compared to 25 years ago, grandparents are much more of a cultural connector, passing down family traditions and values while staying in touch with societal changes today.
I'm not sure I follow that point that you're making there.
Well, they influence education, civic engagement, and even political conversations within families now, where that wasn't the case 25 years ago
So
as much.
what you were supposed to be seen and not heard as a grandparent 25 years
Well, I
ago?
think there was less contact with grandparents for the reasons that we just talked about.
Hmm.
Communication is easier. More grandparents are living with.
Well, and are you spending more time overall in general with them, right? So maybe you have an opportunity to get past the, surface stuff, if you will, right? The going out for ice cream and you're actually like sitting down and having these deeper conversations. Is that the point?
I think so. I think
Okay.
so.
All right, let's go with that.
All right. What else?
I don't know. You're going to tell me.
I didn't realize I was responsible for all of the research of
I
the
come
60.
up with the idea. You have to do all the work. Come on, what's wrong with that? Why do you have a problem with that? I think it's fair.
Well, I think this is going to be the shortest episode of the 60 Plus podcast. Did you know?
Shared experience is basically what you're saying. There's more shared experiences and more opportunity for that.
I agree.
Whether
Yes.
that's face to face in person or via technology, as you said.
Mhm.
I can see that, how that's different.
Did
But
you know all your grandparents?
I did. Yeah.
How long did you have them?
So I think my first grandparent died when I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
And then my last grandparent died when I was about 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, actually, I'm exclaiming like that was late. No, mine was. I have pictures of my older daughter, me, my father, and his mother all in the same picture. So 4 generations all together.
Wait a minute, I take that back. I think I was 33 when my last grandparent died.
Okay.
No, I was.
Janet was told there'd be no math involved in this episode.
No. I was. I was actually 35.
She was 53 years old when.
Sorry, Grandma. I was
Oh, she
35.
forgot her grandmother's still alive, and she just hasn't called her in 20 years.
No, that's not true. I love my grandparents. They were great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, according to babyboomer.org,
Mm.
today's grandparents play a more dynamic and involved role compared to previous generations. So, it's not just the other article that I cited. This is another article. Psychology Today says the same thing.
Okay, so we have validation
We
of
have-
your point.
Of my point from numerous sources.
It's very pointy now.
I'm stretching.
Well, let's talk about this, Joe.
Okay.
Are you looking forward to being a grandparent?
So, my older daughter is married. She is married just about 1 year, almost to the day right now. I can't get my mind around it yet.
Okay. I
there-
wonder if it's harder for men than it is for women.
I don't know. Well, first of all, they don't live nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder how I will react to having a grandchild that I don't see in person.
Right. Use technology.
We'll
Yeah.
use technology. And I think we've talked about this. People have asked me if I would move, and I don't think so.
No.
We had an episode about this.
Yeah. Well, moving with your children.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a little bit different. Like, would you move for your grandchild?
All the same reasons apply why
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I can't say for sure because
No,
I
you
don't
can't.
know what that's like yet.
Exactly. Right. And if it coincides with retirement, you'll have more flexibility to go see them or make arrangements to see them, even if they live further away.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I have the benefit that my daughter's close by, so she's never going to be able to get rid of me. No. Be like, Mom, give me the baby back.
Yeah.
It's time for you to go now.
Let's see how that goes. Let's see how
You're
that
done for the day.
something I came across, and it says many grandparents today are active in communities, participating in volunteer work or civic engagement, and they pass that on to their grandkids.
Right.
They
So
pass on
this,
that kind of
the
mindset.
values,
Hmm.
and yes. And I think that that's definitely another a worthy thing that a grandparent does, right? I think there are some cases too, and I don't know the statistics about this, but if you think about single parents, which is on the rise as
Hmm.
well, that also kind of requires, more involvement with the grandparent or another caretaker that may be of a different generation,
True.
which kind of gives this child the benefits of this sort of intergenerational experience and learning and interaction. And I mean, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Something else compared to 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Today, more grandparents provide financial assistance to their children and grandchildren than they did 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So, for education, housing, even daily expenses. And it's partly driven by increasing costs of living and education.
Well, and also our generation is fairly wealthy comparatively. So there's more resources to share. And in fact, I was reading how the millennial generation is going to benefit from that greatly because they're the ones who'll be receiving our estate once we go. And then that'll get passed on to their children.
I also knew all my grandparents.
Yep.
I have distant memories of my maternal grandmother. She died when I was, I think, 9.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of my grandparents lived, geez, through high school, into college, and well beyond. Well beyond. I was married with my own, as I said, with my own daughter,
Right.
and my paternal grandmother was still alive,
Right.
which is great. It's I don't know if my daughter has any memories of her. My daughter was quite young, but it's nice to have lived at the same time. I frequently think about my kids who were born in the late 90s
Mm-hmm.
as compared to my grandparents who were also born in the late 90s, but it happened to be the
Right.
1890s.
Yeah. A whole century.
And it's surprising to me in a way that I did know all my grandparents because I had children later.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 30s.
Right.
It's nice to have had that memory of the 4 generations being together.
Yeah, that's special. Yep, it really is.
You really don't have a lot to say, do you?
Do you know what, Joe? This may have be the last episode was the earliest
This is the
that we've ever.
latest.
I think this may be the
It's
latest. And
dark out.
and I I've just observed that my energy level goes way down after like 6 o'clock.
It's past Jan. It's 7:07
I feel
p.m.
like I need to be getting into my pajamas soon.
It's it's way past Janet's bedtime. It's 7:07 p.m.
I
Well,
think I also have a food comatose right now.
tell us why.
Because I had a very large wrap for dinner and I was only going to eat half of it and somehow the whole thing ended up gone. I
Uh-huh.
don't know how that
You don't
happened.
know how I know how it happened.
It was very good.
I'm sure it was.
So, what do you think is so special about being a grandparent?
I don't know yet.
What do you think?
Well, you get a lot of the fun with much less of the responsibility.
I guess I've heard that like there's no love like it. It's like unconditional love.
Really.
Like, yeah,
That's
that it's like
because you don't have
amazing.
as much responsibility.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's just supposedly really super special. So, what are the three types of grandparents? There's three types, three classifications.
Grandmother, grandfather.
Now I'm coming up with some information here. So, there's three classifications. They are formal,
Okay.
fun seeking, and distant grandparenting styles. Which one do you think I'm going to be?
The fourth type,
Which is what?
clinging and
No. I'm going to be the fun seeking. Are you kidding me?
uh-huh.
Okay, formal style grandparenting takes a hands-off approach. The fun seeking style is always participating in activities with their grandchild. Distant grandparents are physically or emotionally distant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know people that fit all three of those.
Do you?
And different people, not
Well,
the
when you
same
think about
person.
your own grandparents, would you think that
See, it was so
I
give me the
think it
three
was
types. It
different.
was
I bet
different.
you there's more fun-seeking grandparents today. So it's formal, fun-seeking, and distant. I don't think any of my grandparents were distant.
No, mine weren't distant, but and fun seeking was there were times that were fun seeking. I remember my maternal grandfather took me to my first Major League Baseball game. I remember where we sat. I remember who they played. I remember walking into the stadium because I'd only ever seen it on black and white TV, and I
Yeah.
was amazed at the colors, the green lawn, and
Yeah.
so there was some fun seeking.
Yep.
My paternal grandparents were much more kind of salt of the earth people,
Mhm.
teaching me how to cook, teaching me how to garden. They didn't do a very good job on that one.
Mhm.
It was fun, but it was much more indoor kind of, well, a lot of sitting. It was the Italian side of the family,
Right.
sitting around the dining room table and
Right.
and talking in very loud tones
And eating.
and
And eating. Yeah.
eating and cooking.
Yeah. Oh, one of my grandparents, grandfather was, oh my God, fun seeking. It was like every time you went over there, he had put some new concoction. He like would make a miniature golf course in the front yard, and like built these like little golf clubs for us, or built a rowboat, or like he was just, I don't know, really into it, right?
Okay.
And that always stuck in my mind. But yeah, all very loving. So, what is the golden rule of grandparents?
Parents get to decide.
The golden rule for grandparents is to love unconditionally, offering unwavering support and affection to their grandchildren.
Where are you getting that? What's your
And
source?
it involves respecting parents' authority
That's what I just
and
said.
decisions while fostering a deep emotional connection.
That's what I just said. That parents get to decide.
Yeah,
What's your source?
I don't know. Do I have to have a source? I'm just
Yes, we
reading
put
it.
all the sources in the
It's
show
on my
notes now.
computer. This is the 11 ground rules.
11.
11 ground rules for grandparents to maintain familial health.
Okay.
I think this is good. This is good stuff.
All
Okay.
right.
So, and this is from the marriage.com.
Marriage.com.
So, here are the 11 ground rules for grandparents. Establishing boundaries. These are some of the fundamental rules for grandparents. While their involvement is essential, it's vital to respect the parent's authority and parenting choices.
That was my
Number one,
golden rule. Yep.
yes, respecting parents' wishes. That kind of goes along
Same
with
thing.
that, right? Fostering open and effective communication. I guess that goes along with that. This is more about the relationship with the
The parents.
parents. Offering unconditional love.
Okay.
Yeah. Sharing family history. So that's, responsibility. Quality time together. Assisting with childcare.
Mm-hmm.
Being a role model.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I have to work on that one. Supporting, just kidding. Supporting educational goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Respecting.
like a lot of the things that I already talked about.
You're so smart,
I am.
Val. Oh my gosh. Respecting.
Regular listeners will recognize that. New listeners will learn it very quickly.
Oh, geez. Oh, okay. Respecting diverse. Notice how I don't need to say anything
About?
about the values that I bring to this podcast
No, you don't.
because they're self evident.
Ah, I see.
Respecting diverse family structures.
Mm-hmm.
Staying healthy and active. That's going to be an important role in all this.
Okay.
And remember that when Megan said you want to be able to play with your grandchildren, you
Get
want to
up
be
off
able
the
to get
floor.
up and on and off the floor
Yes.
easily.
Yes.
That's what that's in relationship to. So I think, and this article goes on to explain in more detail for each of those 11, but it's a nice little list.
It is a nice little list. We've learned a lot from this podcast, this episode, including the fact that Janet can't wait to be a grandparent and spoil rotten her grandkids.
Yeah.
when her daughter is not looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, I want to go to grandma's house. No, I'm kidding.
Yep. Yep. You're gonna give them all the stuff they're not supposed to eat.
No,
And
no. I will be responsible. Ish. Ish.
good thing it's not a good
But
thing.
fun seeking.
Good thing it's not a video podcast because you could see Janet's eyes rolling around as she was pretending to say that.
I will follow the golden rule. Listen, I won't have much choice. Let me just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me.
All right. So that's a lot of the differences between grandparents from 25 years ago compared to today. The rules about being a grandparent,
What you have to look forward to,
what you have to look forward to, and how much
or
Janet wants to
maybe
be a
even
grandparent.
enjoying now. And if you are a grandparent now, please leave us a comment, and maybe you might have some words of wisdom.
What's your
And
golden rule as a grandparent if it's different?
yeah, or if you just want to confirm, validate,
And don't forget
support.
to like, share, and subscribe to the 60 Plus podcast. I think that's it for this week.
Okay.
Until next week, I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.